So today we will be beginning with the second module, and this will be the first video of the second module. So in module 2 we have seen we will be looking into thyristors, and this is the syllabus as prescribed by VTU, and the textbook for this particular module is MD Singh and KB Kanchandani Power Electronics second edition, Tata McGraw-Hill. This is the prescribed textbook and this is textbook 2 from the syllabus. So in the module 2 syllabus, we'll be looking into the thyristors, introduction, principle of operation of SCR, static anode cathode characteristics of SCR, and two transistor model of SCR in this particular video. The remaining topics, which consist of gate characteristics, turn on methods, turn off methods, forced commutation, gate triggering circuits, RC firing and UJT firing, will be dealt with in consecutive videos. Coming to introduction, a thyristor is the most important type of power semiconductor devices. They are extensively used in power electronic circuits and they are operated as bistable switches from non-conducting to conducting state. So bistable means two stable stages, one is the on state and the other is the off state. And basically a thyristor is a four-layer semiconductor made up of PNPN structure with three PN junctions. It has three terminals, the anode, cathode and the gate. The word thyristor is coined from the thyratron and transistor together. It was invented in the year 1957 at Bell Labs. So this is just a introduction of thyristor. Here you will be looking into the symbol of the thyristor and the structure of the SCR. When I say thyristor, I mean SCR itself. So what we see here is the symbol is made of anode cathode, very similar to diode, but it has got a gate terminal which is put at the cathode side. If you look at the structure, it is made up of PN layers, four layers, and these are the three junctions. We name it as J1, J2 and J3. And at J1 here junction, the P will come with the anode terminal. At N terminal here, we get the cathode, and at the P layer, we get the gate, which is nearer to the cathode. So this is silicon, which stands for SCR, which stands for silicon controlled rectifier. So this is the symbol structure. Now coming to SCR forward bias operations. When the anode is made positive with respect to cathode, so anode is made positive, so I put a battery here with positive on top and negative below, and it is connected between anode and cathode. That time the positive voltage connected to P will forward bias this particular junction J1, and also J3, which is connected, the N terminal is connected to the negative of the battery. But if you see J2 is going to be reverse biased because N terminal is connected to positive and P terminal is connected to negative. So J2 is said to be reverse biased, whereas J1 and J3 are said to be forward biased conditions. When anode to cathode voltage is small, only leakage current will flow through the diode. Since J2 is not conducting and it is simply forward biased with a small voltage, J1 and J3 though forward biased, J2 is reverse biased, and whatever flows is the leakage, reverse leakage current that is flowing through the device. The SCR is then said to be in the forward blocking state. If VAK is further increased to a large value, if I go on increasing this voltage and make it a large value, the reverse bias junction J2, okay, will break down due to avalanche effect, resulting in a large current through the device. If once this breaks down, J1 and J3 are already forward biased and it is going to conduct. The voltage which is at which this phenomenon occurs is called as the forward breakover voltage of, that is VBO. I will show you that in the graph. Since the two other junctions J1 and J2 are already forward biased, so since they are already forward biased, there will be a free movement of carriers across all the three junctions, resulting in a large forward current flowing from this battery anode to cathode. Once the SCR is turned on, the voltage drop across this particular SCR will be very small, and that is the on state voltage, and it is typically 1 to 1.5 volts. The anode current is limited only by an external impedance present in the circuit. So if I want to reduce this current, the only way I can do it is put a series resistance with the supply that will reduce the current through the anode. Now let us look at the SCR operation using the gate. Till now we just applied a forward voltage between anode and cathode, but we did not use the gate terminal. So if I am going to use the gate, what happens? Although an SCR can be turned on by increasing the forward voltage beyond VBO, breakover voltage, in practice the forward voltage is maintained well below VBO. We should not try to go beyond the breakover voltage. It will of course conduct that time, and because of the J2 breaking into that avalanche condition. But it's necessary to operate below VBO and use the gate, and the SCR can be turned on by applying a positive voltage between the gate and the cathode. With the application of positive gate voltage, the leakage current through the J2 increases. So what happens is I am going to apply a positive gate current here, and this reverse junction, which is reverse biased because of this positive voltage that is being applied, that will push the holes towards this and increases the current through this junction J2 further. This is because the resulting gate current consists mainly of electron flow from cathode to gate. So from cathode to gate, it is the electrons that is flowing, okay, and the gate current, that is mainly because of the electron flowing from gate to cathode to gate. Since the bottom end layer, now I am putting here plus and minus, so minus is connected here. Since the bottom layer is heavily doped as compared to the P layer, due to this applied positive and negative voltage applied here, some of the electrons reach the junction J2. These electrons will reach the junction J2 and add to the minority carrier concentration in P layer. Okay. This raises the reverse leakage current and results in the breakdown junction of J2. So this is like a reverse leakage current, and that is going to break down the junction J2, even though the applied forward voltage is less than the breakdown voltage VBO. So what in effect is happening is, though my applied voltage is less than VBO, by giving the gate pulse, it is equivalent to increasing this forward voltage beyond VBO. That kind of condition arises, and hence SCR will turn on for lesser value of VBO if I use the gate. With increase in gate current, breakdown will occur before VBO. So this is, let us see the characteristics, that is called static anode cathode characteristics, and this is the circuit that is built to get that characteristics or VI characteristics. So what we see here is the supply voltage is given, which is made variable, and I am connecting a load in series with the thyristor. Also, the gate of this thyristor is controlled by using a variable resistance or a potentiometer to control the voltage that is being applied through G, which is also having a series switch. So if I open this switch, the gate supply is not connected, and if I close the switch, the gate supply is connected. Okay, so this is a simplified form what we have done. We are applying an anode cathode voltage here, between the anode and cathode, and this is the gate voltage that is being applied between the gate and cathode. It's a simplified diagram, and we will go on varying this and this to get this kind of characteristics, that is the VI characteristics. So in VI characteristics, we are going to see the four quadrantal operation. This is the current that is flowing, current axis, and this is the voltage axis. So what we see is basically the thyristor, when I give a forward voltage, does not conduct means the current is very less, and what the applied voltage goes on developing across the device, and the device is not conducting till it reaches the breakover voltage. Now this VBO I am controlling by varying that potentiometer connected to the supply. So as I increase that voltage till VBO, it will not conduct. At VBO, suddenly it will start to conduct. Conduction means the drop in voltage followed by a high rise in current. So this stage is achieved by increasing the forward voltage beyond the VBO. But suppose I don't allow the VBO is still less, I can use a gate trigger and I can turn it on earlier to VBO by simply giving the gate current. You are getting this? So we see that there are, in this particular quadrant, this is the forward voltage, and the current that is flowing in this region is nothing but the leakage current, because junction J2 is reverse biased, and the conduction of J2 happens only when the J2 breaks down because of avalanche breakdown, and it conducts. When it conducts, you will get a high current, but the voltage drop across the device will drop to 1 to 1.5 volts. Now we'll be looking into two currents, IL, that is called as the latching current here, and we have the holding current below the latching current, and we will see what are these two currents later on. In this third quadrant, you will observe that this is the reverse voltage that I am going to apply like a diode, and since SCR conducts only in the first quadrant, it is reverse biased and does not conduct and behaves like a reverse biased diode. Hence, there is a reverse leakage current. When I apply reverse voltage, junction J1 and J3 will be reverse biased, whereas junction J2 will be forward biased. Okay, and that does not allow the current to flow, and what flows is the reverse leakage current. Okay, because of J1 and J3 being reverse biased. And if I further increase this reverse voltage, the device will break down here, and we should never operate SCR in the breakdown. So this is a region where the SCR is in off condition, and here there are two states. One is the blocking state, that is the off state till this point, and after this it will turn on, and this is called as the forward turn on. So basically when we look in SCR, you can look at it, as how the device is going to conduct in the two quadrants, the first quadrant and the third quadrant. So in the reverse direction, the SCR will be similar to the reverse bias diode, which conducts very little current until the avalanche breakdown occurs. So here I have shown again, I have already explained how it behaves like a reverse biased diode and does not carry any current. And in the forward direction, the thyristor has two stable states or modes of operation that are connected together by an unstable mode, which appears as a negative resistance on the VI characteristics. So here if you see, there is a drop in the voltage whereas rise in the current. So the two are, we call that as a negative resistance region of the VI characteristics. So the low current, high voltage region is the forward blocking state. So when I say blocking, obviously current should be low and voltage will be high. So this region, low voltage and high voltage, we call it as the forward blocking stage or the off stage, and the low voltage and high current, that is this stage. This is called as the on state of the thyristor. So continuing with this VI characteristics of SCR, for the forward blocking state, the quantity of interest is the forward blocking voltage, that is VBO, which is defined for zero gate current. Okay. If a positive gate current is applied to the thyristor, then the transition or breakover to the on state will occur at small values of anode to cathode voltage as shown earlier. Although not indicated, the gate current does not have to be a DC current, but instead can be a pulse of current having some minimum time duration. So I can have a DC type of triggering for gate. I can even have an AC in this, but only the positive of the AC will be considered for the gate for triggering, and the negative will become a waste, and it is actually an additional. So AC is not preferred, and the third type is the pulse type. So pulse current is preferred because it is on for some time and removed, because once the SCR becomes on, the gate has no control over the SCR states. This ability to switch the thyristor by means of current pulse is the reason for widespread application of the device. However, once the thyristor is in the on state, the gate cannot be used to turn the device off. The only way to turn off the thyristor is for the external circuit to force the current through the device to be less than the holding current for a minimum specified time period. So if you look at the SCR modes of operations, we have got these three modes of operation in the SCR. Which are they? The first is the forward blocking mode or off state. Second is the forward conducting mode, which is the on state. And the third is the reverse blocking mode, which is again the off state. So coming back to this particular characteristics, we have got the forward blocking region. That is the region from here to here till VBO. So from 0 to VBO, I call it as forward blocking region, where the SCR is in the off state, right? And hence the current is very small here, but the voltage is very high. And the gate current is 0. And then once VBO is reached, it is going to turn on, and that is your second mode of conduction. I call it as forward conduction mode or on state. In this on state, you will realize the voltage is very small here and the current is very large. Okay, and the device is said to be in the on state. And then we have a third mode, that is the reverse blocking region. That is nothing but the third quadrant. When the SCR is reverse biased, the junction J1 and J3 will be reverse biased, and hence the current will be very small. And this is again the off state. Okay, so we have got the VBR as a breakover voltage in the reverse direction, VBO as a breakover voltage in the forward direction. We have IL and IH as the latching and holding current, which will be consequently studied. So forward blocking mode, let us look at forward blocking mode again. When the anode is positive with respect to cathode, the gate terminal is said to be open here, okay, and the thyristor is said to be forward biased, okay, and because of that you will have the junction J1 and J3, okay, which will be forward biased, and junction J2 which will be reverse biased, okay, and hence the current cannot flow from anode to cathode. This is the condition when we call it as forward blocking mode of SCR. At this conduction, a very small current leakage will flow through the SCR. In case of forward voltage increase, if I further increase the forward voltage, then J2 can have an avalanche breakdown at a voltage called as the breakdown voltage. During the voltage less than breakdown voltage, SCR offers a high impedance to the circuit, and during this condition SCR is said to be in an open condition, that is anode to cathode is not connected. This is your forward blocking mode of SCR. In the forward conducting mode, that is the on state, you can see this dotted line, it has turned on, and this is the forward conducting region. So just briefly we'll go through. When the anode is positive with respect to the cathode and the necessary gate signal is applied to the SCR at a small voltage, current passes through the SCR, right? A thyristor is brought from forward blocking state mode to a forward conduction mode. So here it is blocking and suddenly it comes to conduction. Okay. At this condition, the thyristor offers very small impedance and behaves like a closed switch. Okay. So current will flow from anode to cathode. The thyristor is said to be triggered into on condition by applying a voltage greater than the breakdown voltage. As per characteristics, you can see in this mode the voltage drop is going to be very small here across the thyristor. That voltage will come across anode and cathode. The voltage drop across the thyristor during this mode depends upon the thyristor and the external thyristor. So it could be anywhere from 1 to 1.5 volts. This voltage drop is due to the ohmic drop in the thyristor 4 layers. Next is the reverse blocking mode. We know we are talking about the third quadrant here. And in this condition, the cathode is positive with respect to anode and SCR is in the reverse biased mode. The junction J1 and J3 are reverse biased here and J2 is forward biased condition. When the voltage applied across the SCR, it offers high impedance and very small leakage current passes through the SCR. So no current will pass here. You can see the current is very less. This is the current axis. So current is very less and it has a high voltage across it. At the reverse breakdown voltage, an avalanche occurs and at junction J1 and J3, a reverse current will rapidly flow. After VBR, if you further increase the reverse voltage, the J1 and J3 will have the avalanche breakdown and a rapid flow of current will flow. But this is not advisable because this is a destructive kind of phenomenon and we should never allow the SCR to go in the reverse conduction state. Okay. So now what is the latching and holding current? I have been talking to you. So when you talk about holding current, where is holding current? You will always find holding current much lesser than the latching current. So what is holding current? After an SCR has been switched to the on state, a certain minimum value of anode current is required to maintain the thyristor in this low impedance state. Means what? When I turn on the SCR, the current through the SCR will be high. Okay. And by using external resistance, I can go on reducing this current. Alright. So one thing is there, if I want the SCR to be in the on state only and not go back to its off state, some minimum current has to flow through the SCR to ascertain that the SCR is in on state. So if the anode current is reduced below the critical holding current value, so what happens is I have turned on the SCR and the current is here. Suppose I use some external resistance and I start reducing the current through the SCR. As I go on reducing, it will still be in the conduction mode as long as I am above this IH value. So I should never reduce. If I try to reduce below the holding current, the SCR will come back in its forward blocking state. Getting the point? So the anode current, as long as it is above the holding current, it will be in the latch state or on state. Next is the latching current. So when does holding current come into picture? Holding current comes into picture when an already on SCR, that on SCR, if you want to make it off, I have to bring that current that is flowing through the SCR below the holding current. Then it will come from on state to off state. But what about latching current? Latching current comes into picture when I'm turning the SCR uh, from off to on state, the opposite of holding current. So I am going to turn on the SCR. Okay. So after the SCR has switched on, okay, I turn on like maybe through gate or maybe through VPO. Suddenly it will start reducing the voltage and the current also is going to increase. But if the current does not, if the current is here only, okay, if the current is below the latching current here, then it will not turn on. So this current has to be at least IL for it to pick up and turn on. So IL, so there is a minimum current that is required to sustain the conduction. This current is called as the latching current, IL associated with the turn on. So IH is associated with turn off, IL is associated with turn on and is usually greater than the holding current, the value. So if IH is 4 milliamps, IL will be around 12 milliamps like that. So now coming back to the syllabus, let us see what all we have covered now. We have covered basically the thyristor, what it is. We have introduced to you that and how the thyristor operation happens and what is the static VI characteristics of the SCR. Let us move on now to the two transistor model of an SCR, means an SCR, how it can be represented. So let us look at the two transistor model of the SCR. So let me explain these figures first. So here you can see I have got P, N, P, N, the four layers of the SCR. The anode connected here, cathode here and gate here. Gate connected to the P layer of the PNPN, okay, towards the cathode. Now anode current is entering here, gate current enters here and the cathode current leaves from here. Now you can see this Z that has been put here. This Z is basically splitting this PNPN four-layer device into two transistors. One PNP transistor and the other is NPN transistor. So it has been shown here. So I take this PNP transistor here, PNP transistor, and this NPN transistor I am showing it here. Okay, so obviously you will know the transistor will have collector, base and emitter. So this is the base of this PNP transistor and you will see that forms the collector of the NPN transistor and the collector of this PNP transistor forms the base of the NPN transistor, okay, and the gate is connected to the P. This can be further simplified here. This PNP has been represented like this, P, N and P. I can call it as transistor 1 or T1 or even Q1 I can call it. And since it is PNP, I will have the arrow inside and wherever there is arrow that means it's the emitter and I call it as IE1. 1 stands for this transistor 1 and since it is the anode of the SCR that is entering from here, I will say this is the anode current which is nothing but the IE1, the emitter current of PNP transistor. Note that the base current is represented as IB1 because this is T1 and it is equal to IC2 of this T2 transistor which is an NPN transistor. So this is the collector, base and emitter. Since it is called as T2, all the collector current will be IC2, IB2 as the base current and IE2 as the emitter current. So what we see here is the base of this transistor is becoming the collector of this transistor. So I can write this as IB1 is equal to IC2. Similarly, if you see the collector current of PNP is nothing but coming as to the base of this NPN transistor. Okay, and the gate is coming from here which is connected to the P layer of this particular transistors. Okay, so in this fashion this is called as the equivalent circuit. And hence the SCR as we have seen will be represented as a two transistors and hence it's called as true transistor. Now let us analyze this two transistor model. Let us understand how that SCR works in the first quadrant and the third quadrant, or how is it possible that the SCR can be triggered, or how it can be turned on, and what happens, and how we can justify it using certain equations. Okay. So the SCR can be considered to be made up of two transistors, as we have seen, P and P, and hence what happens is IA becomes the anode current becomes the thyristor current, and I'm calling it Q1, don't get confused, this is same as T1, and it will have its own current gain, that is alpha 1. Okay, so IA is equal to IT, IB1 is equal to IC2, and this is the collect current IC1. The arrow is here, so this is the emitter current of IE1 of this particular thyristor. So IE1 is IA, IC is IC1, alpha is current gain alpha 1, ICBO is the leakage current of this transistor. We have done the transistor model where we have represented the leakage current of the base collector junction. And I can, because it is transistor 1, I'll call it as CICBO1. And IB, the base current, I will call it as IB1. So we know that IB1 is equal to IC2 here. Okay. Considering the NPN here, this is the other transistor. We'll call it as Q2 or T2. And you will know that it is like alpha 1, we'll call it as alpha 2. And this is nothing but IB1, IC2 which is coming here. And this is IB2, the base current. And this is the a cathode current which is nothing but IE2. So IE2 becomes equal to IK, IB becomes equal to IB2, and IC becomes IC2 in this case. And IC2 becomes equal to IB1, what we have told. Okay. And also one equation we have to remember, the emitter current, which is nothing but the cathode current, is nothing but the summation of anode current and the gate current which is entering. So hence IC, which is the collector current, I is the emitter current, and ICBO is the forward current of the transistor. And we know the relation between IC and IB, that is IC equal to beta times IB, where IB is the base current and beta is the common emitter forward current gain. Let's, for transistor T1, this relationship holds as, I can write an equation for transistor 1 as IC1 equal to alpha 1 into IA plus ICB0, because IA is IE. Okay, so IE is the emitter current. In our first transistor, IE is same as the anode current, so I will replace IE with IA. So IC1 becomes equal to alpha 1 into IA plus ICB0. You can represent it as equation 1. Let's go for transistor T1 and this relationship which holds good. Similarly, for transistor T2, I am going to have IC2 which is equal to alpha 2 into IK. The emitter current for transistor T2 is the cathode current, and hence I will call it as IK plus CB02. The leakage current ICB02 stands for transistor 2. And again here also IC2 is equal to beta 2 times IB2. That is the current gain that we know. Now by the analysis of two transistor model, we can get anode current, where I can write anode current is nothing but the summation of the two collector currents, right? Which two collector? The transistor PNP collector current and the NPN collector current, and that becomes the anode current. Okay, this is by applying your normal KCL law. And from equation 1 and 2 above, I am going to replace IA becomes equal to IC1 plus IC2. Hence IC1 is, I am going to replace IC1 here, right? IC1 which is alpha 1 IA plus ICB0 A1 plus IC2 which is alpha 2 IK plus ICB02. If applied gate current is Ig, then cathode current will be the summation of anode current and gate current. So I have already told you that cathode current is the one which is coming out, anode current is the one which is entering, and gate current is also entering. So the two entering currents will give you one cathode current, Ik equal to Ia plus Ig. So in our equation I can substitute for Ik as Ia plus Ig. So here we see by substituting this value of Ik in that equation we get. So I am going to substitute Ik as Ia plus Ig, and I am going to get here Ia plus Ig in the same equation. Okay, and solving this equation, take Ia on the left hand side. I am going to get alpha 2 into Ig. Okay, plus ICB01 plus ICB02 divided by 1, right? This will be outside, so 1 minus alpha 1, okay, plus alpha 2. So when you solve this equation, take I on the left hand side, you get this is the main equation of the two transistor analogy, and it gives you some conclusion. From this relation, we can assure that with increasing value of alpha 1 plus alpha 2. See what happens is, as I increase this value, alpha 1 and alpha 2 value is normally less than 1. Okay. So as I go on increasing this, I may try to make it equal to 1. Maximum value it can have is 1. So as it goes to unity, what happens? 1 minus 1, this becomes 0, and when denominator is 0, the anode current is going to increase drastically, right? So the anode current will increase. So how do I make anode current to increase? By increasing alpha 1 plus alpha 2 and making it equal to 1. If I make it equal to 1, this term becomes 0. Anything upon 0 is infinity. That means Ia becomes infinite, means very large, right? When is the current very large through the thyristor? When I turn it on. Okay. So at the first stage, when we apply a gate current Ig, it acts like a base current of transistor T2, and Ib2 becomes equal to Ig, and emitter current of the transistor T2 transistor I2 is equal to Ik. Hence, establishment of emitter current gives rise to I alpha 2 and it increases. As alpha 1 increases, this continuous positive feedback, see the base of the transistor of T1 is removed and acts like the collector current of the transistor T2, that will make the T1 to turn on more, and as it turns on more, the collector current will increase through T1, which is nothing but the base of T2, and hence T2 is an NPN transistor, more base current, more turn on. So indirectly, the one transistor turn on is actually helping the other transistor to turn on further, and this when it turns on, it again turns on the T1 more on, and this is so fast, it's called as a regenerative positive feedback, and this will drastically increase the current to very high value, and the transistor turns on. So this is the two transistor module, but one thing we should know, when the two transistor analogy is valid only till SCR reaches its on state. After that, it has a gate has no control. Okay. So let us look at the case here when the gate current is 0. So let us take the same equation and we put Ig equal to 0. If I put Ig equal to 0, this term will go and I land up with only ICB01 plus ICB02 divided by 1 minus alpha plus alpha 2. The gain of alpha 1 of transistor. So remember here I am not giving gate. The gain alpha 1 of transistor T1 varies with its emitter current, IE, that is the anode current. Similarly, IE, which is also equal to Ia plus Ig, which is equal to Ik, that is the cathode current of the transistor T2. In this case, Ig is 0 and alpha 2 varies, that is the second transistor gain varies only with Ia. Initially, when the applied forward voltage is small, alpha 1 plus alpha 2 is less than 1 when I am applying a forward voltage. However, the reverse leakage current is increased by increasing the applied forward voltage, which reverse leakage current, junction J2 is reverse biased, and hence the leakage current will increase as I increase the forward voltage current. The gains of the transistor will increase, and that will result in making alpha 1 plus alpha 2 10 to 1. So once this alpha 1 plus alpha 2 10 to 1, Ia is going to increase, and that happens when the forward voltage reaches the breakover voltage of the device of the transistor. So from the equation it is seen that when alpha 1 plus alpha 2 is equal to 1, the anode current Ia tends towards infinity. This explains the increase in anode current for the breakover voltage VB. So let me summarize what we have been doing today. We have dealt with what is a thyristor, which is nothing but a silicon controlled rectifier, and we have introduced you to it, and we have seen the operation of SCR, and we have also seen the static anode cathode characteristics of the SCR, and we have also seen the two transistor model of SCR and the calculation we have done using the SCR two transistor model of an SCR. So with this, I would like to say thank you to you, and please get back to me for any doubts and queries. Thank you again.